In May 2010, Costa Mesa, California Police Dispatch received a call reporting a dead body found in an apartment. Costa Mesa police rush to an apartment complex where they make a gruesome discovery. At this point, all we know is that we had a young female deceased with a wound to the back of her head, said Costa Mesa Police Lieutenant Ed Everett. When we went out to the crime scene, we found she was in the bedroom, lying partially on the bed with her legs on the floor. Then there are things written on the back of her shirt. Someone wrote, "All yours, F.U." on her shirt, and it really looked like it was a run-of-the-mill domestic violence case, said Orange County Senior Deputy District Attorney Matt Murphy. A purse and wallet near the body revealed the victim's identity. Her name is Julie Kibuski. Julie, by all accounts, was a sweet young woman. She was 23, loved to dance, and was very talented. But now Julie is dead, and the prime suspect is the tenant of the apartment. His name is Sam Hare, a war veteran who is currently MIA. The police zeroed in on Sam pretty quickly. Texts recovered from Julie's cell phone at the scene suggest a volatile romantic relationship. Authorities believe they've solved the whodunit part of the case. Now they just need to find Sam. They questioned Sam's father, who discovered the body and made the call. Mr. Hare was in disbelief, repeatedly said, "No, my son couldn't be involved in this. There's no way," said Everett. We didn't quite believe him at that point. Just because we couldn't find him. It was his apartment, dead girl, and it seemed like he was on the run. But bringing in their fugitive wouldn't be easy. He's an Army veteran, trained killer, and he's been accused of something similar before. Sam Hare had a criminal history that led us to believe that he was a suspect in this case, said Everett. When detectives ran Sam Hare's record, they discovered that 8 years earlier he was arrested and charged for the same thing. This pretty quickly got police thinking Sam was the killer, and they started looking for him as their number one suspect. We took into account his military record, said Everett. We didn't know where he'd served in Afghanistan and if he was exposed to PTSD. We didn't know what the relationship between Julie and Sam was. We didn't know if the message on her sweater was intended for some third party or for us, the police department. We didn't know if we had a love triangle. He was our number one guy. Then the police got a tip from Sam's bank. His ATM card is being used at one of their branches, and it appears that the wanted man is close by. Investigators pull the bank surveillance cameras expecting to see Sam, but they don't. Who is this person using Sam Hare's ATM card? And where's Sam? Minutes later, a second ATM swipe, this time at a pizza place. Police arrived just in time to catch the delivery driver en route to a home address in Long Beach, California. Now stationed outside of Hare's house, SWAT teams prepare to take down a violent and mentally deranged combat veteran. But when they knock on the door, they find 16-year-old Wesley Freilich. Freilich is immediately ruled out as a suspect. In fact, Wesley doesn't even know Sam Hare, but he does know Daniel Wozniak. He told us that Dan Wozniak had given him the credit card, and he had just been there a couple of hours earlier, and he had picked up $400, said Everett. And who is Daniel Wozniak? And what is his connection to Sam Hare? 31-year-old Daniel Wozniak was a community theater actor in Orange County. He lived in Costa Mesa, right across from Orange Coast College. He was engaged. He had a hard time holding a job. Wozniak was deeply in debt, needed money for his upcoming wedding, and was facing eviction when he concocted a plan to kill a neighbor and steal his money. That neighbor was Samuel Hare, an Army veteran who had reportedly saved $50,000 from his service in Afghanistan, prosecutors said. Wozniak allegedly hired the 16-year-old boy to use Hare's ATM card to withdraw money from the victim's bank account. Daniel's fiancée is his acting partner, Rachel Buffett. Their wedding is less than 48 hours away. By all accounts, he's living the high life. In fact, he was at his bachelor party in Huntington Beach when homicide detectives break up the party with an arrest warrant. Lieutenant Ed Everett finally lays eyes on the elusive Daniel Wozniak. I immediately looked at Dan Wozniak. He made eye contact with me. He immediately turned white. You could see the blood kind of draining out of his face, said Everett. I knew at that point that there was more to him. He either knew where Sam was at, he was hiding Sam, helped Sam flee, or he had more involvement in this than he was letting on. Cops haul Wozniak in, and back at Costa Mesa Police Headquarters, Daniel denies any involvement in Julie Kibushi's death. He claims his only crime was a credit card scam that he and Sam had concocted. Basically, he came up with some scheme about using the credit card, and he was going to give the credit card to Wesley, and they were going to pull all this money out of Sam's account, and then Sam would report that he was a victim of theft, said Everett. But before Wozniak could cash in, he claims Sam Hare made a startling confession. He said Hare told him he was drinking heavily and was depressed. He said Hare tried to make love to Kibushi, and when she said no, he killed her, according to Wozniak. Wozniak claims after the confession, he dropped Hare off at a local shopping center and never saw him again. But police believe Wozniak is covering for Hare, so they turn up the heat during their interrogations and demand a DNA sample from Wozniak, which he gave. Once the DNA was collected, Wozniak's memory starts to sharpen. At that point, he became visibly nervous. That's when he started to add more details to the story and make some changes, said Lieutenant Everett. Detectives are starting to get the impression that Daniel Wozniak is worried his DNA will show up in Hare's apartment. But why? Yes, I helped him get away, Wozniak says in a video of the interrogation. Yes, I knew that he killed someone, and yes, I knew that Detectives reminded him that they have his DNA. Where's that DNA gonna show up, they ask. In Sam's car, said Wozniak. He insists he did not see Julie dead in the apartment, and his DNA won't be on Julie. Detectives still suspect Wozniak is holding something back. They decide it's time for the good cop, bad cop routine. First up, the bad cop. You're arrested for killing her, okay? That's what you're being arrested for. You don't want to talk to us? Tell us any more? That's it. Then we're done. We're done, one detective tells Wozniak. Unless you want to talk to us, we're done. I will talk to you about anything if it gets me to my wedding on Friday. That's what I will promise, said Wozniak. Enter good cop, Lieutenant Ed Everett. Dan, you've got the answers. You can help us, he tells Wozniak. I don't know what else you want me to say. I don't know, says Wozniak. Tell us the truth. You're not that good an actor, says Everett. Dan Wozniak was an arrogant guy, and I think he thought he was going to act his way out of this, said Everett about the interrogation. But Daniel Wozniak seemed to be cracking under the pressure from Costa Mesa's finest. Okay, fine, said Wozniak on the interrogation video. You know what? He came down and said, help me. I went upstairs, and yes, I saw the goddamn body. Is that what you want to hear? No, we want to hear the truth. That is the truth, says Wozniak. Then detectives press hard. They know Wozniak is about to break, so they bluff. Detectives tell Wozniak his DNA was found on Julie Kibushi's body, even though those results won't be available for weeks. How did your DNA get on her? 'Cause I was right over her body, says Wozniak. Okay, so how'd your DNA get on her? That I don't know, says Wozniak. DNA doesn't just fall off. I don't know. I didn't touch her. I didn't do anything, says Wozniak. Orange County Superior Detective District Attorney Matt Murphy is watching in the next room. He's not impressed. Then detectives move in for the kill. What'd you see? I saw 2 holes in her head, and I saw her pants were ripped and cut, Wozniak said. And I saw like, F you, written on the back of the shirt. Where were the 2 bullet wounds? I don't know. Sam said he shot her twice, said Wozniak. I didn't see. You just told us you saw 2 bullet wounds. You were standing over. No, okay? How did your DNA get on her? I was standing over the body. I saw 2 bullet wounds to her head. It's exactly what you said, Dan. You can't even keep your lies straight. There's no second take for this actor. Daniel Wozniak can't keep his lies straight, and his script has just been flipped by his own admission. Then a sudden stalemate. Daniel Wozniak refuses to talk. He wants to go back to his jail cell, while behind bars, he calls his fiancée Rachel Buffett. He calls Rachel, who has just talked to his brother Tim, and she has learned that Tim has evidence relating to the case. She doesn't know what it is, but he's got evidence, said Matt Murphy. Police record the conversation. What did you do? Asked Rachel. I helped Sam cover some stuff up and helped him buy some stuff. Illegal stuff, that's it. I didn't kill anybody, said Dan. My mom's working on canceling all the wedding plans now, and I just talked to Tim. Then I need to make a phone call to the detectives now. Why? Tim says he has evidence with him, or he knows where it was, or something. Then I'm doomed. What? Tim said that? Yeah, do you know that Tim had some evidence? Yeah. Oh God, oh God, oh God. Well, this is ridiculous, and I have to go tell the detectives the truth. No, don't. That can't be found. When we listened to those jail recordings, it seemed that there was panic in Dan Wozniak's voice with Everett. That was one of the few times that there was some emotion, and it was the emotion that he was going to be caught. Rachel Buffett was cool, calm, collected. Now Rachel Buffett must choose between her fiancé or freedom. No, babe, I'm going to do it. Listen to me. No. What? Trust me, please. I have to tell the truth on what I did, and I think you know what that is. And it's bad. Imagine the worst, and that's what I did. Suddenly, Wozniak is desperate to speak to detectives, and he spills his guts. I'm crazy, and I did it, Wozniak says in the recorded interrogation. I killed Julie, and I killed Sam. Okay, all right. Where's the body? I killed them both, says Wozniak. All right. Sam came first. It was all just about the money. That was it, says Wozniak, 100%. He was colder than an iceberg. No feelings, no emotion. Just nothing there, said Lieutenant Everett. Sam was doing a good deed, trying to help Wozniak move something. When Sam turned his back, he knelt down. Wozniak pulled his father's gun, shot him. Then, after killing Sam Hare, Daniel does the unthinkable. Police say Wozniak sent texts from Hare's cell phone to lure Kibushi over that night. Once inside the apartment, Wozniak snuck up and shot her. Then he stages the crime scene to frame Hare. And the motive for this heinous crime? Money. More than $50,000 Hare got for serving in the military. Wozniak wanted money so that he could go on the Royal Caribbean cruise line and take an awesome cruise, said Murphy. He literally wanted this money for his honeymoon. He killed these two people so he could take a trip. And in one of the fastest deliberations in the history of Orange County trials, the jury takes just 1 hour to find Daniel Wozniak guilty and recommends the death penalty. Detectives claim Rachel Buffett knew about what Dan did, and her case is still pending. She's charged with 3 counts of accessory after the fact. She's pleaded not guilty. Daniel Wozniak is a poster boy for why the death penalty exists in some states, said Murphy. For a lot of cases, there are extenuating circumstances, but there are a few that are so awful and unnecessary, and the grief that they cause is so profound for the most trivial reasons that they really should be subject to the ultimate punishment. And this is one of those cases. Have you heard of any lesser-known cases lately? Let me know in the comments below and I will cover them if they are interesting. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. Also consider subscribing for more videos like this.